Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Cindy Gavin. I'm the founding executive director of Let's Win Pancreatic Cancer, and I'm also a proud member of the WPCC steering committee and the co-chair of this annual event. On behalf of the entire WPCC steering committee, I want to welcome everybody to our 2021 annual meeting. And while we wish that we were all in person, I have no doubt that this will be a great 3 days for all of us together. So I'm sure that everyone could appreciate that each year there are challenges putting together a meeting like this. But we have more participants than ever. So I want to welcome old friends and new friends back in the room. We have 129 participants from 65 member organizations and 23 countries. Last year, we had 49 members from 21 countries. So this is our largest meeting to date. Next, Craig. So as I started to say, putting together a global meeting is always a challenge. And I just want to say thank you for all of your patience. There are organizations around the globe of all different shapes and sizes with different missions. But this year we had an additional challenge, which was called the time zone. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who woke up early in Asia Pacific and over in Europe and the Mideast who it's late at night, for really being here today at a time that's not optimal for you. So thank you for participating at this challenging hour. So a lot of thought has been put into this meeting, and I think that everyone's going to have a wonderful couple of days, but we really appreciate your input and value your feedback. And when we met back in 2019, we had really wonderful constructive feedback, which we have considered for this meeting, as well as over the summer. Thank you to those who gave input into the topics that we should focus on. Input came from around the world, and this is going to be a really wonderful agenda. And thank you for helping us shape what the next 3 days will look like. I hope everybody stays engaged and there's just so much for everybody to learn, but I hope everybody also takes this as an opportunity to network with each other. So it's a chock full agenda. We're going to kick off this morning with a scientific panel. We will also close out on Thursday with a preview of our WPCD Day campaign. This afternoon, we will go into our breakout rooms, and then we will also have our roundtables over the next 2 days. We have great topics to discuss this afternoon, and then I'll talk a little bit about the logistics tomorrow. But tomorrow we will be able to spend some time taking a deeper dive into 3 topics around diet and nutrition, clinical trials, and molecular profiling, which will help shape our priorities over the upcoming years. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. So this is a really fun and engaging platform, as you could all see. I'm really glad, Craig, that you stuck with it and we decided to go with Remo. This really does feel different than anything that I've been in. Over the next couple of days, please be respectful and use standard etiquette. Please, when you're not speaking, have your mic on mute. But really, most important, we want everybody to engage. Please message friends in the chat, meet with old and new friends at various tables. Take time to go take a dip in the pool on the rooftop and meet at the bar. I said I was going to have to increase my maturity level because every time that we get up to the rooftop, I'm always like dipping into the pool. So I hope everybody has a good time. A couple of really, really important thank yous, because none of this would be possible. This was really a team sport. I want to thank my co-chair, Diana Jupp, for really partnering with me. Jenny Isaacson, nothing that the WPCC does would be possible without Jenny. Jenny, thank you for your incredible leadership and for partnering with Native Marketing. Craig McAnsh and his team, Kristen and Abby, they've been really, really terrific, and it's been really a privilege to work with them to pull together this meeting. And finally, a huge thank you to our sponsors, because without you, none of this would be possible. So I just want to say thank you to our friends from AstraZeneca, Immunovia, Ipsen, Merck, and Novocure. I know 11 of you are here with us today, and we're thrilled that you could join us. So thank you for supporting us and taking the time to be with us. We will come and visit you on the rooftop deck at your little cabana huts, and we will visit you at the tables. And I really look forward to seeing you all over the next couple of days. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce President and CEO of Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, also known as PanCAN, and the chair of the WPCC, Julie Fleshman.
Great. Thank you so much, Cindy. And thank you again to Cindy and the entire for pulling this together and creating a fabulous meeting for all of us over the next 3 days. So I'm just thrilled to be with all of you today. It's really hard to believe that it's been 2 years since we were together in person in Coral Gables, Florida. It feels like a long time ago. And I know the last year and a half, really going on almost 2 years, it's hard to believe, have been a challenging time for everybody, both personally and professionally with your organizations. But I'm so thrilled that we had the opportunity to come together today virtually. And there are some advantages to being virtual. This is actually our largest meeting ever with the most attendees. So being virtual does make it a little bit easier for people to attend. Please feel free to put in comments in the chat and engage as we continue to go through the day. So what I just want to spend a little bit of time, we've got new members, and it's always good for all of us to sort of refresh on what is the coalition's mission, what do we do together, and why are we here? Next slide. So the mission of the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition is to drive transformational change for all those affected by pancreatic cancer. And of course, we do that through global collaboration by raising global awareness about pancreatic cancer and about all of the activities of all of our organizations all across the globe. And another really important aspect that I think has come out of the coalition is this opportunity for sharing best practices, for networking, for knowing that none of us are alone in tackling this very tough challenge of pancreatic cancer. So I'm thrilled to share that when the coalition was launched back in 2016, we had 54 member organizations. And today in 2021, we have 9 organizations now representing 36 countries on 6 continents. So pretty amazing. In your welcome packet that hopefully you all received, everyone got the flag of your country. And I know we can't all see each other waving it, but I'd love you to pick up your flag and wave it and just imagine all of us all around the globe representing pancreatic cancer patients. We really should be so proud of the work that we're doing. And I'm just grateful for everything that you all do every day for our patients. Next slide. So this map just shows you where all of our member organizations are located. So we've got a lot in North America, a lot in the United States, a couple in Canada, a lot in Europe, a few organizations in South America, a few African continent, several in Australia, and a few in Asia. So really covering a great part of the world. So I know I don't need to remind this crowd about the challenges of pancreatic cancer, but it is always good to remind ourselves, why we're here and why what we're doing is so urgent. So as you all know, pancreatic cancer has the lowest survival rates among all major cancers. And every day worldwide, more than 1,358 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And every single day worldwide, an estimated 1,277 will die from this disease. And that is just simply unacceptable. And that is why we are all here trying to change that. And we also know that the incidence for pancreatic cancer continues to go up every year. This year, the worldwide incidence for pancreatic cancer is a little over 450,000. By the year 2025, the estimate for the total incidence is 560,000, a 23% increase. So our mission is urgent. We need to continue to plow through regardless of a pandemic. And I know that's what you all continue to do. So I want to give you a little bit of background for those of you, especially who are newer to the coalition, about the history of the coalition. So back in 2014, Celgene, at the time when before Celgene merged into BMS, Celgene hosted several meetings in Europe in the years 2014 and 2015. Attended by leaders of some of the European pancreatic cancer organizations, but I was lucky enough to also be able to attend. And at that first meeting in May of 2014, we agreed as a group that we thought that we should do something collectively together and that we should launch a worldwide campaign to raise awareness about pancreatic cancer. And so the very first World Pancreatic Cancer Day took place back in November 2014, hard to believe. We then had several more meetings in Europe. There was also a meeting that we hosted in North America with pancreatic cancer groups from the US and as all of that went on and I spoke to different leaders around the country, or around the world, I should say, we decided that we really should officially put a coalition together. And so invitations went out to join the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition in December of 2015. And meanwhile, we had already hosted 2 World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaigns. So it was finally in May of 2016, the official launch of the coalition and our very first in-person annual meeting. And then from there, of course, we had an annual meeting 2016, 2017, 2018, and the last in-person meeting in 2019 before the pandemic. And we continued to host the World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign annually during November, Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. And it is hard to believe that this November 18th, is World Pancreatic Cancer Day in 2021, and it will be our 8th World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign. So a little bit about the governance structure of the coalition. So the coalition is a collaborative effort. The coalition is not a legal entity, so it is not set up as a separate legal entity. And it's really 2 committees. We have a World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition steering committee, and I'll introduce you to who those people are in a minute. And then there is also a World Pancreatic Cancer Day committee that really focuses on the annual day campaign in November. And then a subcommittee of the steering committee is the annual conference and meeting committee that Cindy and Diana Jupe co-chaired this last year. And you heard about that from Cindy a little bit ago. And finally, the coalition is actually funded through sponsorships that are secured by PanCAN. So I'm the president and CEO of PanCAN here in the US. And PanCAN believes this is a very important initiative for all of us around the globe to be working collaboratively. So our PanCAN staff go out to secure the sponsorships for the coalition. And if there is any difference in the sponsorships that we bring, the dollar amounts that we bring in versus what the expenses are, PanCAN makes a donation to the coalition to help pay for the expenses for our efforts. And I'll show you the budget for the coalition this year in just a couple of minutes. So that's a little bit about how we are structured. I want to introduce you to our amazing WPCC steering committee. This committee gets together once a month for an hour, and it's just an amazing group of individuals that I'm honored to work with. Barbara from the Kenner Family Research Fund in the US, Cindy, who you just met from Let's Win here in the US, Danny Goldburn from Purple Our World in Australia, Diana Jupe from Pancreatic Cancer UK in the United Kingdom, Kathy from the European Cancer Patient Coalition in Belgium, Stephanie Condon Oldrive from the Craig's Cause Pancreatic Cancer Society in Canada, and finally Tomas from Onkomajak, which I probably didn't pronounce correctly, in the Czech Republic. So again, an amazing group of people. We try to have these committees represented by many different countries from around the world so that different cultures and different perspectives are brought to the table. So big cheers to the steering committee. The other important committee is the World Pancreatic Cancer Day Committee, which, as I said, really works on planning the World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign that will take place in November. So a big shout out to our day committee, Jessica, who is the chair of the committee from Purple Our World in Australia, Federica from Nadia Valsecchi Foundation in Italy, Kate from Craig's Cause Pancreatic Cancer Society in Canada, Carrie from Kelly's Heroes in the US, Luis from Pancreatic Cancer UK in the United Kingdom, Iga from Europa Colon in Poland, Lisa from Let's Win here in the US, and Luis from Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Gibraltar in Gibraltar. So again, a well-rounded committee representing 7 different countries. So again, the global representation for these committees is really critical to our success because these committees lead a lot of the initiatives that we do throughout the year. So I hope that you will, as you learn more about the coalition over the next 3 days, and if you are interested in potentially sitting on one of these committees, please reach out to me or either one of these committees. We will be doing an official request for nominations for the committees at the end of the calendar year. And we hope some of you will consider sitting on a committee and helping with the operations of the coalition. So there are really 2 initiatives that the coalition leads or takes part of every year. One is the annual meeting, which of course we're hosting today virtually. And the annual meeting really came about because we believed that it was important for us to come together, to have the opportunity to meet, to have the opportunity to network and share best practices. And hopefully you will see that and have the opportunity to do that over the next 2 days. The other important initiative of coalition is, of course, the World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign that happens in November. It is always on the 3rd Thursday in November, and this year will take place on November 18th. And the campaign slogan is "It's About Time." And you will learn, there's a session during this meeting where you will learn more about the campaign and all of the assets and the tools and the resources that are available to you so that your organization can take part in it. So next, I want to always be transparent about the budget for the coalition. So this year in 2021, we were able to secure $300,000 in sponsorship. This is US dollars in sponsorship for the coalition, which aligns pretty closely with the expenses. The annual meeting 47,000. That also includes the agency that works with us throughout the year to update the website, to send out the newsletter, and to put things out on our social media. The World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign, the hosting the website, and then the project management that PanCAN provides through the staff, our staff that support the efforts of the coalition. So the total expenses this year are a little over $300,000. We were able to cover the majority of it through sponsorship, which was wonderful. Just to give you a sense of the budget in a year where we're doing an in-person meeting, the budget is closer to about $500,000, so closer to about $500,000 when we have an in-person meeting. And in the past, we've been pretty successful at covering most of those expenses, with PanCAN making, you know, a donation to help cover them. So 2 years since we met last time in person, and just want to go through some of the achievements over the last 2 years. So first of all, 13 new member organizations have joined the coalition, and I'm going to introduce you to them in just a few. We've held 3 virtual meetings. So last year, although we didn't have an annual meeting, we actually had 3 different virtual meetings on relevant topics at the time for all of us, because we were new to this pandemic and all trying to figure out what to do. So we had a meeting on the COVID impact. It was a roundtable discussion. We did a meeting around the 2020 World Pancreatic Cancer Day campaign, and we also did a webinar on the impact of the coronavirus for pancreatic cancer. Since we met last time, we've celebrated 2 more World Pancreatic Cancer Days. In 2019, the campaign was around Demand Better. You'll remember that we had had that for a few years leading up to 2019. And then last year in 2020, we changed the campaign theme to be It's About Time. And It's About Time is all about learning about the risk factors and the symptoms and early detection of pancreatic cancer. And so again, you'll learn more about the campaign this year later in our meeting. We've also had increased social media. So again, in this virtual world, the advantage is that people are definitely on social media. We do have a closed Facebook group just for coalition members. And that closed Facebook group has grown from 57 people to 139 members. So if you're not a member of that, please let us know, and we would love to have you join. Abby just posted the URL to that Facebook group in the chat. We've also acquired 6,153 new followers across our social platforms. So we are continuing to get the word out and get more people to follow the coalition's efforts. And finally, we forged a new strategic alliance. So while we are a coalition of pancreatic cancer groups, there are also other coalitions like us that are focused on other disease types. For example, there's an ovarian world ovarian cancer coalition. And so all of these different coalitions came together this last year to form an alliance called the Global Cancers Coalition Network, which represents over 400 patient advocacy organizations. And so we did a couple of things with that network around talking about COVID-19 and the impact on cancer care around the world. And anything that we learn or that is being offered through that global collaboration will always be in the coalition's monthly newsletter, where you can learn more about it. So ultimately, the coalition wouldn't be successful without the individual efforts of all of your organizations. And I think what is so special and unique about the coalition is each of you and each of your organizations is focused on different things. So we all have different expertise and different skill sets that we bring to the table at the coalition to make the whole. Some of you are focused on advocacy, awareness, and fundraising. Probably most of you are doing fundraising. Some of you are focused on education and healthcare professional training. Some are focused on funding research. Some are focused on providing services and support. And so it's really for patients and families. So it's really this comprehensive approach that when we bring all of us together, we have skill sets across all of these areas, and we can share best practices and partner with each other, partner with another organization that isn't doing what your organization is doing. Those are great collaborations and partnerships. So now I want to say a welcome to the new member organizations that have joined over the last 2 years. There are 13, as I said earlier, starting with the Gastrointestinal Society in Canada. Welcome. Next, we have Love from Israel. Great to have an organization in Israel join the coalition. Next, we have Inspired to Live from the Netherlands. We have the Philippines Gut and Pancreatic Cancer Association in, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The Gut Cancer Foundation in New Zealand. The Philippines Gut and Pancreatic Cancer Association in the Philippines. And I'm not going to pronounce the last one correctly, but Laftima Lila in Switzerland. And then we had several organizations join in the US. We've got the Charlotte Pancreatic Cancer Alliance, the Mid-Shore Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, the Egerton Life Foundation, the Sienna Megawitz Foundation, the Michael W. Oxleby Foundation, the Joanne Donzis Foundation, and the Robert E. Reed Gastrointestinal Oncology Research Fund. So again, wave your flags. Welcome to all of our new members. We're thrilled to have you and thrilled that you could join us today in this virtual meeting. So finally, you know, one of the most important things, Cindy mentioned this, I've said it a couple of times, really that the coalition plays is this opportunity to connect member organizations. It's so nice to meet partners from around the world, to know what the other organizations in your own country are doing and who the leaders are, and really provides opportunity for potential partnerships. And we've seen a lot of really neat partnerships come out of the relationships that people have built through the coalition. So we don't want to lose that in this virtual meeting over the next 3 days. We selected this, or the committee, I should say, selected this remote platform because it really does provide a great way to still be able to network even in this virtual environment. So I really hope you'll take advantage of it. In the welcome packet that you should have received, on the left-hand side, there are bios of all of the speakers. And in addition to that, there is a packet that looks like the sheets in it look like what is on the slide, which are poster profiles that all of you submitted for this meeting. And I think that's a great way. Pull that packet out and go through and identify the organizations that you'd really like to meet up with over the next 3 days, and make an effort to find those people during the networking sessions. So finally, Cindy thanked the sponsors. I want to give them one more shout out: AstraZeneca, Immunovia, Ipsen, Merck, and Novacure. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying during this challenging times over the last year and a half. We're so grateful and appreciative of your support. And we're so glad that you're joining us